Stay frosty and head over to EasyMut.com for the cheapest MUT coins on the market. And when I say cheapest, I mean it. We're talking 1 million coins for around $40. Use code DIRECTOR for 5% off. Yo, what up, brothers? It's the Director. Chargers fans, we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. Today's more about reminiscing, remembering our emotions and initial reactions to Chargers drafts of the past. Now, if you guys couldn't tell, I'm not the oldest, the longest in the tooth fan out there. No, I'm not going to remember the draft that we got LaDainian Tomlinson or Phillip Rivers. As a matter of fact, I wasn't really even into football until around 2008. And even then, it took a couple of years for me to even give a damn about the draft. So I'm going to start here with the 2010 draft and work our way all the way up to 2021 and give you guys my reactions to all these. We're going to go way back, man. I mean, back even when Joey Bosa was drafted, you guys know what I was thinking. I was thinking, oh my God, I hope we get Jalen Ramsey this draft. We got Joey Bosa, and little did I know, my favorite Charger was about to enter the roster. By no means at all was I upset with the pick with Joey Bosa, but I was definitely hyped up about a Jalen Ramsey back then. So before we do get started, something a little bit different today. Recently, I was at a carnival, a city fair, and I was roaming around looking for the cotton candy, and then I hear from the corner of the room, a director, and I look over and I see these two dudes. I'm like, oh my God, are these guys I don't remember from high school? I come up and I'm like, wait a minute, they said director, not my real name. That was kind of cool. I ran into a couple of fans at a fair. This is a shout out to Dayton and Keaton. Awesome being able to talk to some of the fans out there IRL. If you guys spot me roaming around, definitely come in and say hi. It's always a good time. Now, before we do get started with this video, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this content. The small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into this one. Lights, camera, action. Looking back, my initial reactions to Chargers drafts of the past. It should be a really good one today, guys. Again, we're going to start in 2010. That's really when I started first paying attention to the NFL draft. And of course, this is the year that the Chargers decided to draft Ryan Mathews. Oh man, the reminiscing is already kind of hitting me in the face right here. You guys remember 2010? A big reason why I became a Chargers fan is one, I love San Diego, and two, LaDainian Tomlinson was like the hottest thing in the world for a long time. Really kind of skeptical as to if the Chargers could even come close to replacing the value of LaDainian Tomlinson on this team. And I remember in 2010 when we selected Ryan Mathews, I was hyped. I was like, there's an inkling of hope that we can remain a very consistent running team. And honestly, I mean, we're going to be able to see, you know, hindsight is 2020 or whatever after the fact what happened with these players. I think Ryan Mathews was a great player. He just could never stay on the field. We called him glass legs in our fantasy football league. And honestly, it's a shame that he wasn't able to stick around with the Chargers longer than he did. But still, in 2010, my initial reaction was I'm pretty excited to see Ryan Mathews with this team. I hope the legacy of LaDainian Tomlinson, or the kind of effect of his run game, lives on through Ryan Mathews, which of course it didn't, but he had his moments. Let's move on to 2011, where the Chargers select Corey Liuget, defensive tackle. And honestly, I remember at the time, as I understood the team a little bit better, I was pretty excited about Corey. I was really excited to see maybe our defensive line step up a little bit, especially in the run defense department. But there was one player I was super excited to see enter this roster. I don't think we drafted him until like round 3. Guys, forgive me if my facts are completely wrong. It's been so long ago. You guys remember Vincent Brown, number 86 for the Chargers. I think they drafted him out of San Diego State. Oh my God, the potential of this guy was huge. And if I remember correctly, it's either he didn't get enough playing time or he was always injured. I don't remember. This is a community video, so if you guys remember better than I do, please share in the comment section below. It's fun to look back, but obviously I'm not going to remember everything. Still, Vincent Brown, a lot of hype behind this guy. It never seemed to like come out. It never seemed to like work out. And although a lot of us were excited to potentially see him as a wide receiver 1 of the future, at that time it just didn't seem like Vincent Brown was getting ready to shoot out of a cannon or anything. I do remember at that time Malcolm Floyd, Vincent Jackson. It's a really exciting time for Chargers football as far as wide receivers, but we're all excited to see the potential of Vincent Brown as well. Next up, let's move into the year 2012. You guys remember that year? It was Andrew Luck and RG3. Everybody was super hyped about that. Of course, the Chargers Chargers did not need a quarterback, but what we did need was a little bit help in the pass rushing department. Lo and behold, enter Melvin Ingram. At this point, again, I was really starting to get a grasp on the Chargers as a team. I was getting a grasp on how I wanted the Chargers to operate. And I think I was pretty excited about Melvin Ingram. If I remember correctly, I think he was a mid first round pick, somewhere around like 15 or 20 or something around there. And I was excited to see Melvin Ingram on the team, and I saw it as a good, direction to push as far as our pass rush was concerned. Now looking back, this is the first year that we're not going to have Melvin on the team, which honestly is kind of crazy how much time has flown by. Melvin Ingram, to me, when Joey Bosa entered the fold, it was the best duo in football for a while, at least in my perspective. So it's kind of crazy to see how fast time has flown by since then. Let's move into the year 2013. The Chargers have had this problem for a long time. I'll let you guys guess in the comment section. We had an atrocious offensive line. I think around that time, Hardwick had already left the team or retired, and we were looking for some answers on that offensive line. The Chargers decided in the first round, for the first time of me being a Chargers fan in my history, to take DJ Fluker. And honestly, yeah, I was pretty excited. I remember thinking, wow, that dude's huge. He's definitely going to be able to protect Phillip Rivers. We're looking a little bit more solid on that O-line. But I think I was more excited when the Chargers decided to draft this man right here, Manti Te'o, the man with the invisible girlfriend. Of course, all that stuff didn't come till later, but I was super excited. Manti Te'o, I remember him being a big deal at Notre Dame. Obviously, coming from a Polynesian background, I thought it was pretty exciting to see him on the team. And I was also really cautiously optimistic about Keenan Allen. Boy, oh boy, did the story of Keenan Allen turn into somewhat of a success, a huge success for the Chargers, a risk well worth taking. But honestly, back then, I was feeling like Keenan Allen, I didn't know if he was going to see the field. I knew a lot of people saw a lot of potential in him. Maybe not the fastest guy in the world, so he wasn't like your Madden glitchy sort of player, but people did see a lot of potential and just had to stay on the field. And for the first couple of years, I wasn't sure that was going to happen. The term injury prone was thrown out around a lot, but here we are today, man. Keenan Allen, top 5 wide receiver in the league. If not consistent, and super happy that all worked out. But in this draft, I do remember DJ Fluker. You guys remember that didn't quite work out. He was subpar at best, and he moved on to a whole bunch of different teams. I think the last one I remember was the Seattle Seahawks. So it's definitely been a minute. But Keenan Allen, what a huge win for the 2013 draft for the Chargers. Next up, 2014. At this point, the Chargers are looking for a little bit of help in their secondary, and there happened to be a guy out there that a lot of Chargers fans, including myself, were super excited for the Chargers to take in this draft, and Jason Verrett. The guy had all the measurables, fast, really good in coverage, but again, the one concern was, is he gonna stay on the field? Are you guys seeing a pattern here? I'm kind of reliving this all in real time with you guys. The Chargers definitely not afraid to take a chance on players that maybe had some injury concern, but Jason Verrett's talent was up there, man. He was looking like one of those best cornerbacks to enter the draft in a while. I was super excited to see him on the Chargers, and when he played awesome. And I think this is one of the most tragic stories for Chargers fans when it comes to what could have been if he could have stayed on the field. Jason Verrett probably would have been one of those names that you speak alongside of maybe Darrelle Revis. Am I reaching a little bit? He was really, really good, man, but people just don't know it because he wasn't on the field very consistently. And now he's found a little bit of success with the San Francisco 49ers. Can you believe the guy's like 30, 31 or almost at this point in time? Insane, Chargers fans. So it didn't work out, but again, it was one that I was fully backing and very excited to see. Now, 2015. The Ryan Matthews experiment had failed. Unfortunately, I think he moved on to the Philadelphia Eagles at that time. The Chargers were in the market for another running back. And at that time, there was a running back I wanted so bad by the name of Todd Gurley. And if I remember correctly, the Los Angeles, or at that point, St. Louis Rams, jumped us to go pick a Todd Gurley. The Chargers ended up trading up as well to grab Melvin Ingram. And at this point, again, maybe a relatively new Chargers fan. This was like my 5th or 6th draft ever as a fan. I was excited to see the Chargers make a move, go get the guy that they wanted. And of course, I knew Melvin Ingram. A lot of people very excited to see him, his history coming into the league. And honestly, he was great. I think it was a great pick. It was a great move. He did a lot for this team. But again, if I knew he was going to move on to the Broncos, I don't know if he would have had my support even with those good years. Took him a minute too, actually, I remember. Now that's all coming back to me. Melvin Melvin Gordon didn't score a touchdown in his rookie season, right? And that was a little bit concerning. Yeah, year one, that's right. He was considered a bust by a lot of people. And after a couple seasons, a little tread on his tires, he was definitely looking a lot better for the Chargers. Of course, he elected not to stay with the team, throwing away a lot of money. Sorry, Melvin, that was definitely not a good decision there. But I would still consider it a good pick by the Chargers. I just liked seeing the team get aggressive and go grab the guy that they wanted. Kind of insane. We didn't get Gurley, but we did get Perriman that year as well. I remember being kind of excited about Perriman too in that draft. Moving on, 2016. This is the kind of the preview from the top of the show, right? That was the year we went out and got one of my favorite players of all time in Joey Bosa. Okay, and I remember where I was at. I was at a bar watching the draft, and I was crossing my fingers, my toes. I was giving up my future children to some entity. Please help us go get Jalen Ramsey. I thought Jalen Ramsey was one of the coolest players I'd ever seen coming into the draft. Chargers needed cornerback help so bad. It just made so much sense. And then the Chargers come up and they announce Joey Bosa is going to be the pick. I think number 2 overall, right? Insane. Or 3? I don't remember. I was just so excited for the potential Jalen Ramsey that it did kind of hinder my excitement for Joey Bosa a little bit. I knew Joey Bosa was amazing and that his potential was sky high. But I think at that point, even as a football fan, I didn't realize how huge of an impact a talented player at this position could bring to the team. Again, guys, this was years ago. I was a young, foolish individual. I didn't know what I was talking about. But then the first time I saw Joey Bosa knock Derek Carr on his butt, I was like, okay, I like this guy a lot. And then lo and behold, years later, Joey Bosa, one of the best defensive players in football. For a long time, when I first started my YouTube career, I was in Madden football, Madden Ultimate Team to be more specific, for a long time. Whenever a Joey Bosa card would come out, I would throw some kind of celebration, sometimes to the tune of like a funny video or whatever. And he instantly became one of my favorite. I'm wearing his jersey right now in this video, guys. It's hard to say. Maybe that's a video for another day. My current favorite Chargers right now. It'd be really tough to usurp Joey Bosa from number 1. Love Joey Bosa, even with those guys, Darwin and Justin Herbert and all those guys, Keenan especially. Joey Bosa is still my guy, man. I love me some Big Bear. And also that year, too, we got Hunter Henry as well, which I remember being very, very excited about. All right, guys, 2017. Now, I'm going to be completely open and honest with you guys. At this point, Philip Rivers may be getting a little bit old, but I was still one of the biggest Philip Rivers fans in the world. I definitely had his jersey most in my closet. I think 3 or 4 of them in my closet. I was rocking it all the time. Philip Rivers was my boy, and I just loved his personality, his talent, everything he brought to the table. But I did recognize that the guy was probably getting a little bit older, and by no means did I want Philip Rivers to stop playing for us that season. I just felt that it was time for us to start maybe grooming a quarterback of the future. Let Philip Rivers play out his days as a legitimate quarterback one for the Chargers, but bring in a young guy that he can maybe eventually pass the torch over to. It kind of the ritual of passing the torch to a new younger guy for a new generation. I just felt that we were kind of at that point with Philip Rivers. So I'll be honest in saying, in this draft, I was really rooting for the Chargers to take Deshaun Watson. I remember that year in Clemson, him and Mike Williams, who we ended up taking, which is awesome dynamic duo, and I really felt like the Chargers could definitely start preparing for the future a little bit better. And then the Chargers dropped on us Mike Williams. Honestly, without knowing Deshaun Watson and his success, I was very much so familiar with Mike Williams, and I was very excited because it told me instantly that the Chargers were committed to Philip Rivers right now. They wanted to take Philip Rivers as far as they could, and they needed to get him help in the wide receiver department. Of course, you still had Keenan Allen in there, but we needed that other guy. We needed a guy like Mike Williams. And today, a lot of people are saying, well, director, we could have had Deshaun Watson. We could have had Patrick Mahomes, which I think was taken just before Deshaun Watson. And they say, do you regret that? And inside, like real deep inside, I'm like, maybe a little bit. But I'm such a huge fan of Mike Williams. I know he hasn't been the healthiest player on the field. I know he's seen his drawbacks. He's had really big seasons with over 1,000 yards. He's had other seasons with over 10 touchdowns. Why can't we seem to make everything mesh together and give us a complete, wide receiver 2, or even wide receiver 1 in this team? And I really do think it comes down to durability. What do we say all the time time, guys. The best ability in football is availability, and it really seems like, Mike Williams has struggled in that department since day one. But who knows, guys? It's a brand new season. Of course, Mike Williams on his 5th-year option right now. Maybe he surprises us all in 2021. Absolutely explodes. Chemistry with Justin Herbert is through the roof, and he earns an extension by the Chargers. I really hope to see him stay on this team. He definitely has all the measurables and things that make you that have the makings of a wide receiver one. He just needs to stay healthy. But yes, it is kind of insane to think what could have been if the Chargers decided to go quarterback, Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes, how different this team would look today. Don't think about it too hard, though. You want to sleep at night. I was also a little bit excited for Forrest Lamp and Dan Feeney in that draft. The Chargers still, even with DJ Fluker so many years back, were very much so struggling in the offensive line department. So Chargers fans that are just entering the fold, maybe you're a Justin Herbert fan, you followed him to the Chargers. This offensive line problem has just now been fixed. After 12 years, even longer before that, the Chargers finally are looking like they've got a pretty decent offensive line. Next up, guys, this next draft, oh my God, 2018. If you guys are huge Chargers fans, you know exactly who we drafted in 2018. This man right here, Derwin James. Now, the optimism for picking up a stupid value in the draft for Chargers fans, I think, was born in 2018 when Derwin James fell to us, I think it's 17, right? Somewhat ridiculous in the middle of the first round. What made this so great, too, I got these childhood friends, I love you, McKay, that I grew up with since a young age. I didn't know he'd grow up to be a Raiders fan, okay? That's my bad, everybody. But I had some Raiders friends over to my house watching the draft, and I remember him freaking out so hard that Derwin James was falling. They needed Derwin James just as much as any other team in the NFL, and they elect to go, what was it, Trent Brown or something like that, some tackle that I don't even remember the name of, and the look in his face when they passed on Derwin, I will never forget that face, man. And then I was sitting here like, oh, maybe the Chargers might pull the trigger. Maybe the Chargers are the future team of Derwin James. The Chargers pull the trigger, and my God, dude, I explode. I was skipping around the house. I was so excited. I remember going outside and screaming. I was so stoked that we got Derwin James in this draft. So if anything, 2018, one of the biggest successes for me as far as Derwin. Now, I know he's had injury concerns over the past couple of seasons. Very, very tragic. But really, guys, the talent that Derwin possesses, I say this all the time, some guys are just worth rolling the dice on. Derwin James, the impact he has on this defense, injury history or not, such a good pick for the Chargers in the first round in 2018. Now we're nearing the end here, guys. 2019. Some would say maybe one of the lower drafts of the NFL in recent history, not just for the Chargers, but as a whole. A lot of these players maybe didn't pan out the way that we thought they would. And the Chargers at this point had a pretty low pick. I think it was something like 27 or some junk. So I wasn't really like expecting anything huge, like a day one difference maker player. And the Chargers decided to go Jerry Tillery. Now, I know Chargers fans at this point, I can read the room, okay? Because I read the comments. I understand that the flavor for Jerry Tillery and the excitement for him around the fans is definitely not there anymore. He does have a chance to turn that all around this year with Brandon Staley. But as of right now, he's kind of left a sour taste in our mouths, and we're kind of, people are floating around the word bust a little bit. I remember in this draft at this point, though, with such a late pick, I still thought the Chargers secondary could use some help. And I remember really wanting very badly Greedy Williams, who definitely does look like he's got a great future with the Cleveland Browns. If the Chargers had gone Greedy Williams, how different would this team look like today? I don't know, but I do think maybe it would have been a little bit better than Jerry Tillery. But that's just me. Let me know in the comment section if you guys think Jerry Tillery can turn it around in 2021. Next up, 2020. Oh, this one's going to be a little bit difficult to get through. The year that we drafted our future Hall of Fame All-Pro quarterback, Justin Herbert. Now, this was the first year that I did a live draft with everybody in the audience, right? Me and Trump and Monkey were out here. We were screaming and reacting together. The fan chat was going crazy. And I remember this draft, guys. If you're watching my channel last season, oh, I was such a fanboy of Tua Tagovailoa, man. I wanted Tua on this team so bad. And yes, Tua, a fantastic football player with Alabama. Of course, there was all these things revolving around him. Like, oh my God, did he have too much help? His receivers were great. He's a system quarterback. I didn't care, man. I vibed hard with Tua Tagovailoa, and I wanted him on this team so bad. When we got Justin Herbert, however, this is where the misconception comes in. Of course, Tua goes before us. We decided to go Justin Herbert. In retrospect, thank God we did. The first initial reaction that I had to Justin Herbert was, this is my quarterback, and I've looked into him thoroughly in the offseason because he was linked to the Chargers rather heavily. A lot of people's opinions at the time was that he was an instant bust. And honestly, I mean, I'm not going to say that I was one of the only people saying he wasn't, but I wasn't convinced he was a bust at all. I was like, this guy was probably going to be #1 overall if he had declared just the year before. Yes, like everybody else, I pointed out some of the things that I was maybe worried about, the leadership skills, communication, maybe just a little bit. Maybe it was going to take some time to develop in his decision making, but boy, howdy, was I wrong, and thank God I was, and everybody else on the internet was. However, I have to stand up for myself. I, in no means, wrote off Justin Herbert off the back. As a matter of fact, you go back, take a look at my Justin Herbert prediction video for his stats in his rookie season. I was pretty dang close. I had this one scenario. I was like, you know what, guys? I see a lot of things in him. He had a lot of these huge moments in Oregon. If he can really hone in on that, maybe this best case scenario, Andrew Luck kind of season does come out of Justin Herbert. Wow, did he prove a lot of people wrong that day. So Justin Herbert, welcome to the Chargers. I could not be more excited about the quarterback I'll be watching for the next 15, 20 years lead the Bolts into the postseason. And the Chargers weren't done that year. No, we talked a lot about Justin Herbert, but you know, Kenneth Murray, this was also a big deal too. In this entire time, in this entire video that represents what, like 10 plus years of Chargers fandom, I think I'd only seen the Chargers trade up like once. And lo and behold, we trade up with the Patriots to grab Kenneth Murray. I think I was at this point, I was excited because I was like, it's either Kenneth Murray or Patrick Queen. And I saw a lot of upside with both of them. I just knew the Chargers needed more linebacker help desperately. We got Kenneth Murray, and my God, dudes, the guy led the Chargers in tackles as a rookie, and he's got a very bright future with this team. So I was very excited. Now, last but not least, if you guys watch my videos, you saw my reaction live with you guys. All 3 days of the 2021 NFL Draft, the Chargers in 2021 went out and got Rashawn Slater. Again, if you guys were with me that night, I was really crossing my fingers for Penei Sewell. He played with Justin Herbert, one of the best prospects in like the last decade. We got Rashawn Slater, though. We didn't get Sewell, but as soon as I saw Slater and him start to slide in the possibility of him being a Charger, I was like, there's no way. There's no way that Rashawn Slater slides to us. After Penei Sewell goes to the Detroit Lions, there's no way another team doesn't jump us and come grab Rashawn Slater. And once we drafted him, man, boy, you guys go back and watch my reaction. I was screaming, I was hollering, I was so excited. The Chargers got a steal. Rashawn Slater wasn't supposed to be there. And again, the Chargers in this season that we committed so many resources to fixing this offensive line proved again that they are serious about protecting Justin Herbert. So excited for Rashawn Slater on this team. And again, day 2, you guys were there with me. I didn't, again, same scenario. I did not think Asante Samuel was going to be there in the second round for us. I felt the Chargers really wanted him. Thus, we scheduled a number of different visits with him throughout the offseason. I just didn't know if we had the cojones to go out there and trade up for him. I thought it was going to take a trade. The Chargers, I think, got so lucky once again. Asante Samuel. Some people were saying this, and this is definitely no knock on Asante. We are so lucky that Asante isn't 6'1". You know, if Asante Samuel was 6'1", he would have been an early, maybe even the top cornerback prospect of this draft. But because he's somewhere around 5'10" or 5'11", a lot of teams passed on him. You're going to regret that. Every team that passed on Asante Samuel Jr., you are going to regret that. This is one heck of a playmaker out there, and he's going to fit very, very well with the Chargers. Well, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. This was a really fun one for me to do, man. Talk about memory lane, going back to the days of Ryan Matthews and Melvin Gordon and Joey Bosa, all these guys getting drafted, and then the hype behind guys like Derwin James, Justin Herbert, and Rashawn Slater. It's a really good time. So in the comments section below, let me know some of your guys' favorite memories of the Chargers drafts of the past. Of course, I only remember back to 2010. If you remember when LT got drafted by the Chargers, or Phillip Rivers, or even Drew Brees, or maybe you're a guy that all the way back, you got Dan Fouts and you're super excited to see him come out of Oregon. Let me know in the comment section below some of your favorite draft moments in Chargers history. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. We'll see you next time, and as always, bolt up and stay frosty.